So here's the thing. We all know Soldier Boy is a horrible monster. Season 3 made that clear. His own team, Payback, from the 80s, they turned against him, helped the Russians capture him. But I have been thinking about Vought Rising. The prequel set in the 1950s. Young Soldier Boy, young Clara Vought, who becomes Stormfront. And some people online keep saying, oh, maybe he started out good and she made him bad. I think that's wrong. I think he was always a bully. Let me explain. Captain America, Steve Rogers, he hates bullies.
I don't want to kill anyone. I don't like bullies. I don't care where they're from.
That was his whole thing. A skinny kid from Brooklyn who saw injustice and couldn't stand it. Soldier Boy, he's supposed to be the opposite. He was probably the bully, even before the powers, the kid who pushed other kids down, the guy who liked having power over people to cover his own insecurities. You don't need powers for that. And here's a key detail from the show's lore. The original team from the 50s, they are all V1 soups, the first generation, the most powerful and immortal. Payback in the 80s, they were not V1. They were a later, weaker, regular V batch. That's what the original team was, why the original team was so dangerous. And that's why they had to be eliminated, and that's why the show is going to be a murder mystery. But that's the thing. Clara probably understood early on. Compound V didn't change Soldier Boy's nature. It just gave him a bigger playground. She didn't make him a monster. She recognized one, and she pointed him at the targets that she would want to be destroyed. An evil Peggy Carter. That's darker, right? Because if he was good and got captured, there is hope. But if he was always a bully, then Clara just weaponized him. Now let's talk about the actual plot of Vought Rising. We have seen the trailer, we know the faces, we don't know their character names yet, but their faces are in the trailer, looking scared, looking haunted. Here's my prediction. These new characters, the good guys from the trailer, they are the killers. They are on the run or planning to take the soups out one by one. They are being hunted, and the show is a cat and mouse game. They try to hide while Soldier Boy and Vought hunts them down. Think about what that means. The original 50s team, the V1 soaps, we only saw some of them in season 5 of The Boys, and it doesn't help that Private Angel has two actresses credited for her character and is shown to be in pain in the trailer. With the show plot, protagonist probably saw what Vought was becoming, tried to stop it, and Clara sent her attack dog, Soldier Boy, to eliminate them one by one. And he didn't even ask questions. He just did it, maybe out of anger for Private Angel, because he was always a bully, and Clara gave him permission to be his worst self. Now, Bombsight. We saw him in the finale, season 5 of The Boys. He's the only V1 soup who survived into the modern day. Bombsight survived because he hid, he went off the grid. I believe later though, and when Soldier Boy finally found him, Bombsight lost his power for good because of Soldier Boy. But he lived because hiding was smarter than fighting. Now, a quick side note, Bombsight ended up in an interracial relationship, and this show loves putting racists in ironic situations. So Bombsight was probably a piece of shit too at the start, not a good guy. Just the last man standing who turned out to good later. He survived because he ran away, or just got lucky. Just cowardice. And the other original V1 soups, the ones we don't see in the modern show, I think they are dead. I think the trailer's good guys are the ones running away from probably Soldier Boy. But the real villain isn't Soldier Boy. It's Clara, Stormfront. She will be shown to be the one who built the system. Think about what Soldier Boy said in season 3. She used to host insane parties, orgies, drugs, competition. That wasn't just fun. She is an architect of toxic culture. that produces toxic soups. And toxic soups don't unionize, they don't rebel, they just fight each other for vote approval. She kept soup culture sick on purpose because healthy soups would realize they don't need vote. And Vote Rising could show us that the blueprint, how she picked which V1 soups to keep, how she let Soldier Boy hunt the rest, how she let the rest die, how she framed it as justice when it was really just pruning the garden. Here's the proof. Look at Genevieve, Marie, and the others. Jordan, Andre, Emma. They are the only genuine good soup team we have seen, and they only existed after Clara died. That's not a coincidence. She was the rot at the center. Once she was gone, soups finally had a chance to be decent. Clara's death in season 2 wasn't just revenge, it was the system dying. And the fact that it took that long for good soups to appear, that's how thorough her corruption was. Think about it. When Gen V starts, we have seen that the gang are all part of the toxic system, or a splinter of it, a mini version. And let me correct myself here. I said Soldier Boy was always a bully. That doesn't mean he had no choice. He had plenty of choice. He just kept picking the wrong one. Clara gave him permission to be his worst self, but he didn't need much convincing. That's what makes him tragic in a different way, not a fallen hero. He's just a guy who never wanted to be better. And here's what I keep coming back to: the 50s team, the V1 soaps being hunted. Some of them might have been the good soaps, or had the potential to be good, the ones that Clara wouldn't have wanted to exist. So maybe she didn't protect them. Maybe she pushed them to danger. That's the real horror of What Rising. Not jump scares, not gore, just watching a bully with superpowers destroy the only people who could have saved the world. That we see from the trailer, who could be trying to stop this from the beginning. They are not the killers, they are the ones who saw the horror before it started and tried to stop it outside of the system that was being built by Vought. So do I think the show actually do this? I don't know. Prequels mess up all the time. But the pieces are there. A murder mystery where the killer is the protagonist. And underneath all that, Clarbot smiling and her blueprints come to life. And the good guys lose. Here's what I keep thinking. The only good soaps we have ever seen, Marie, Jordan, Andre, Emma, they came after Clara died. That's not coincidence, that's evidence. Clara built a machine that turned V1 soaps into monsters. Soldier Boy was her best product, and Vote Rising might show us the moment the machine started. Here's my theory: Private Angel is the mystery. The good guys aren't just running from Soldier Boy, they are running away from killing her. They escaped with her body. Maybe it was a coincidence from an espionage gone wrong. Maybe Clara used them as a test subject. And in the end, Stormfront wins. The good guys try to stop the evil before it grows and fails. That's why those new characters, they are not in the modern show. Not because they were villains, because they lost. Because Clara made sure no one escapes. And I'm mad because I think I just figured out the whole plot. Because here's the thing, I could be wrong. Maybe the two actresses mean something else. Maybe she doesn't die, but that look of pain, the sonic weakness, it fits perfectly. Anyway, that's my thought. I'll see you when the trailer drops. And try not to spoil myself again before then.